You are with the University of Karate, and we have gathered to study the principles, the history, the science, the cultural factors, all the various disciplines that come together to form the martial arts. In all these ways, we want to examine from our vantage point as practitioners of Uechi-ryu, also known as Pangai Noon. For those that are listening, we want to look at a unique topic. I think a topic that does not get a lot of coverage or talk. There's a lot of interesting disciplines that goes together to form the martial arts, whether it be the breathing or meditative practice or just the concept of heightening one's awareness. Many people on that topic, on that vein of thought, many people will have situations where they are in danger. It could be a car accident. It could be a loved one falling or in danger. And many people, martial arts and non-martial arts, can attest to being in a situation and it seems like time just slowed down. And they were able to either react in a way that seemed almost unnatural because it seemed like everything was moving so slow, or they were unable to move, but it seemed like they saw everything that happened in this dangerous situation in slow motion. I've had a number of conversations with Sensei Biddle over the years, and especially lately talking about not only the reality of that, but talking about time perception and the fact that beyond the happening of this, just matter-of-factly in situations that could be just, you don't have no control over it. But there are ways to develop this sense or slowing down this sense or perception of time as a result of the disciplines of the martial arts. Without going into too much detail into that, we're going to let Sensei Biddle jump in and talk about this possibility and this type of training that is another lost aspect of the development in the martial arts. Sensei Biddle, why don't you jump in here?
Yeah, perfect. I love this one. This one's a fun one. So when you think about time perception, there's two things that first come up. Like John said, we've all experienced moments in our lives where things have slowed down. Like a car accident is probably the most common one where everything slows. Our perception, we see it in minuscule, and the details are so clear. And so we've all had similar experiences of that. So two things. What is it and how do I do it? Well, the martial arts has a way to do that. So let me give you two stories, two different occasions, two different instructors. One of my instructors, we had a dojo that was quite large. I think the length of the wall, one length was 30 feet. It was like 30 by 20. So he said, all right, Mike, he said, I want you to go all the way back on that back wall. I'm going to go on the other wall. And when you see me move, get out of the way because I'm going to sidekick you. 30 feet. Now, I understand skepticism and all that. I don't care. But, so I get the other end of the wall. He nods at me. He says, get in your stance. Are you ready? I said, yes. And he sidekicked me. I never saw him move. I didn't see a single step. I saw nothing. All I knew was you said, ready? I nodded, and I was against the wall with his foot planting. And he wasn't gentle when he practiced techniques on you. Another occasion was I was with another instructor, and we were working out after class, as we want to do at that time. We'd spent hours, and he said, "Here, let's do a little." He very rarely did this with me. He said, "Let's just do a little sparring match." So we were sparring, and of course I couldn't even touch him or nothing. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then one time he opened up. It's literally the scene from Karate Kid where the kid opens up in a crane stance, opens his hands out wide and stands on one leg. He did that to me. He opened his legs out. No, he didn't do the Karate Kid kick. He opened his arms out, stood on one leg, lifted his foot off the ground. And I'm like, I threw the fastest, hardest front kick at him I could. I delivered everything into that. So I'm like, I'm going to get him. As my leg was extending, he was behind me, tapping me on my shoulder. And then I put my leg down, turned around, and he was just smiling. I'm like, okay, what just happened? And he laughed. He says, okay, let's sit down and talk about this. So, and he used the example we introduced this with about certain situations of danger where things slow down. So let me first go into the biomechanical, actual scientific reason that this can happen. How do I explain not just him, but the cars, they're slowing down time? Your brain is a master machine, and it's bringing in all the data from your environment and filtering it and then delivering it to your conscious mind. You're in the past. It's not like hours or minutes, but it's nanoseconds, but you're in the past. It's a protective mechanism, so it can interpret the environment faster than you can, and then it delivers it to you when it wants to deliver it to you. And there's a lot of aspects in that. We'll talk about more of that stuff later. But anyways, so you're in the past. But certain situations can trigger the brain to remove that gap. Because the brain doesn't have to do that. It does it as a protection. But there's times where the situation dictates not having the protection. It needs you at full capacity, at now, right now. So the brain removes that filter and gives you the data instantly. So your sensation is time slows. It hasn't, of course. But your perception is you're moving at one speed and then suddenly you're at another, because it's a transition for your brain to make. Your awareness recognizes, hey, wait, what's happened here? Now, most of the time, like John said, you don't manage to do much in that time frame. We get stuck, or it's like a dream sequence where you can't move. It's just like it all slowed down, but everything still happened. But, so there is a biomechanical reason for it, and it's in the brain, it's in the CNS. So it does happen. So how do you train that? That's the second question. What the heck? Like, what did my instructor do to me? Both instructors on two different occasions. My first instructor, after he sidekicked me, just laughed and went into his office. But he was like that. Just left me just stunned. Like, what just happened? I mean, I don't even...
He just leaves you and walks back.
Yeah, he just laughed. He did that. My other instructor, we sat down. And he said, all right, so let's talk about this. What happened? Now, he didn't go through the whole biomechanical thing, but here's what he said. We sat down, and I'm going to explain what he said. So it's really about time perception. He called it a time warp. Here's what happens. So we all know this from real life. If you're excited about something, you're going to Disney World, you're getting ready to have this fun, exciting time, or you're having a great time, time goes by really, really fast. Hours or minutes. And time, your perception of that time is that, oh my gosh, where did the time go? We all heard that time fly, all that stuff. The other is true. You're bored. You're bored out of your mind. Your dentist is getting ready to drill your teeth, and you're like, oh my God, I wish this would end. Or you're at a math class, and your teacher's droning on, and time slows, and it's painfully slow. He said, what's happened here, what I just did to you, you were excited, and I was bored. So your perception is accelerated, which is natural in a fighting situation. He says, mine was slowed, so we have a vast difference in perception. Your brain was processing so fast, it could not see me move. Mine was processing so slow, I engaged that mechanism, and I could move around you in the time that you perceived that I wasn't there. So it's all about perception. So, like, if you're really excited and the other guy's really slow or really bored, then he's moving slow and you're moving fast. It just you can understand that. That makes sense. So then the question comes, so I've explained what it is, the brain function of it and the perception function of it. So how would you train that? And we can't go into a lot of detail here because we don't want this to be too long of a video. It's just an introduction thing in a way, but it's just a fun topic. And are we are martial artists the only athletes that do this? No. professional baseball players have been known to be able to see the stitching on the ball as it's coming at them at 90 miles an hour.
Wow.
How is this happening? And football players have talked about they go into the zone and they're moving and everything is slow around them. What's happening? See, it's perception. Gifted athletes tap this. And the more that you're in these situations, the more adept you become at them. If you're a professional baseball player, you're in this situation for your entire life, your entire career is based on seeing that ball. I can't see a 90-mile-an-hour ball coming at me, period.
Stitching. Right?
I don't even know. All I hear is thud in the glove behind me. But they're able to slow it down. So much so that the pitcher hides the ball and tricks them and tries to do all those mechanisms to avoid it. So it's a thing. It's a science thing. It's a physiological thing. It's a thing. So now how do we train that? That's the question. So my instructor told me, all right, well, the first thing you have to learn to do is you have to learn to calm your mind. You cannot be thinking. If you have words running in your head, oh, what's that technique? What's he going to do? Where's he going? What's he going to do? What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. You are accelerated. You need to get your mind to stop thinking. That's why martial arts is very big in meditation, and not in the spiritual sense, but in the quiet sense, getting your mind quiet. And there's biomechanic, physical things in the thoughts. Your thoughts are energy. Your thoughts use energy. Your thoughts use time. If you're thinking, your brain is occupied and it's not getting the signal fast enough. If you have to think about a technique, it's slower because it's bypassing, it's in the way of the CNS performing its function. So first thing you have to do is you have to learn to think, not think. You have to learn to meditate. You have to learn to be quiet and be still. So practice. You have to learn to practice that. Just practice being still, practice being quiet, and see how long you can not let a thought enter your head. A thought will enter your head. Well, just let it go. Don't dally on it. Like, oh, I got to go shopping tomorrow. Okay, that's all. Let it go. That's it. And be still. Learn to be still. That's the most important thing. And there's so much in that. We'll talk about this more. This is a big topic. Secondarily to that, and the hardest part of it is you got to figure out how to get bored. How do you simulate a bored state? Well, you can do that because boredom is an emotion. Motion is energy. You can learn to create boredom. And boredom has an effect of the brain of slowing perception of time down. We know it. We know this, right? This is easy. Doing it's not, but understanding it is. So you have to practice this. You have to learn to get quiet and get bored, which is to all us humans, that is, boredom is anathema. We want to do stuff. That's why we're so busy. We don't want to be sitting still. We want to be on our phone. We want to be scrolling TikTok. We want to be on our computer. We want to be watching TV, whatever. Boredom is the worst thing for us. But if you want to train properly and get to the highest levels of things, boredom is your friend. So slow down, get bored, and don't think. And practice that. And later we'll talk more about how to induce that emergency situation. There are mechanics for that. But that's not something I want to go into now. It's a larger discussion. That's a process of topics and discussions. But in the event, time is perception. It's a war, but you can learn to do it. And then in certain times, certain situations, when you're sparring, it'll happen. I'll close with this. I was working on this technique. My instructor gave me different things to do. I was sparring one time, and this is one of our best black belts. He was fast. He came to my school and wanted to spar. So he threw a reverse punch at me. And this thing engaged. I wasn't anticipating it, but engaged, and things went slow. I saw his arm moving in slow motion. In the time his arm was extending, I grabbed the back of his head and brought his head down to my knee like I was going to do a knee strike to his head, which is in Seisan, right? That movement in Seisan. I did that movement. Grabbed his head, brought it down to my knee. I didn't hit him, of course. I stopped. Then I let him go. He stood up. His face was white. And he looked at me and said, I never saw that. He says, I'm never fighting you again. He left, and he never did. He absolutely refused. He says, I'm not fighting him. If we were put together in our advanced class, he refused. Because that scared the holy hell out of him. I'm sorry. I mean, imagine how you would feel. Mm-hmm. I know how I felt because I had it done to me. So there you go. I reacted differently. I was interested, but we're all different, so that's fine.
Yeah, I would assume that he was spooked. The idea of perception. You see someone that has a fast punch. How are you perceiving that? At what rate is your camera on your brain taking? How many frames per second are you looking at that? And could it be that there is a different frame rate that someone's on, that where you could not even see what's coming at you or what's happening because you're in a different frame rate? That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah.
The possibility of being in a different frame
rate. Photographs and video and things. So yeah, that's a very good analogy, is frame rate. You're operating on 60 feet per second and he's operating on a different variable.
Yes. We want to engage and create conversation around this. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think it's ridiculous, possible, impossible? Have you had situations in your sparring sessions or even in life and death situations where you had to use your martial arts and time slowed down and you saw everything moving very, very slow and you were able to react, and to the other person it seemed like you were just a blur? Many people have had this situation. We're just talking about not just the situation itself, but also the possibility, the reality that people can train this, can control this, can initiate this as a part of the disciplines that make up high level of the martial arts. Please also like and subscribe. You're with the University of Karate, and we'll see you next time.